Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Diaries of Anxious Black Mom. Today is Wednesday. This is the first week of August 2020, and I'm driving right now, passing the Columbia light rail station, and I see people wearing masks. I see the light rail pretty much empty, although there's definitely I see some people. I see an elderly man going in with a cane. I see a woman with shorts on going in or going out of the light rail train. So just kind of an interesting time to be alive and to be just living right now. So that's like COVID update for you all right there. I don't even know if I have anything to say today. I just, sometimes you call someone, you don't quite know what to say, but you feel like you don't want to think about stuff in your head by yourself, so you just call someone. And so, so I'm about to drop off Abim daycare, and then I will then go and work and then pick her up. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Yesterday was kind of an interesting day for me in that I got to focus and do a lot of work, but I'm finding myself really busy, and I go in cycles of like being really productive, feeling light, and just like getting a lot done, and just, my emotions are light. I feel good. I feel like, wow, I'm getting a lot done. This is great. I get to be around my family. This is awesome. And then I get into kind of this place where then all of a sudden I feel very overwhelmed, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing too much. I need to figure out a way to like reduce the amount of stuff I'm doing. And so pretty much my level of being overwhelmed kind of goes like that, where it feels like I'm busy, but I'm okay with it, and then all of a sudden I get way too busy and I don't like it anymore, and I want it to stop. And so I am thinking a lot about that right now, how to make sure that I am not doing too much and I'm not putting too much expectation or too much responsibilities on myself. But that's like, I'm always thinking about that, because I just happen to be someone who really enjoys doing different things and maybe keeping busy even, but I do get really passionate about things. So like this podcast, I'm really excited about working on, because it just allows me to talk and to connect with people. And I always like when I put out a podcast and someone texts me, or I get a comment, or whether that's on Facebook or whatever it is, when I get a comment or I get someone like writes a review or something, it's just something about that is really cool. Like, it's a way to connect, and it's also helping me share more about myself. Sometimes I think when you're in the workplace or you're doing community work, you don't always feel comfortable sharing more about yourself and like the things you're going through, and you feel like you have to just be a professional. And so this allows me to be more myself, and this podcast just allows me to be more myself and kind of talk about what's happening with me, rather than trying to put in compartment all the different aspects of who I am. And I get to bring all of myself into one place, and I don't always have a lot of places where I could do that. So it's really valuable to me that I keep doing this podcast. And then, the TESFA program, which is the Sunday program related to COVID that I'm doing for Ethiopian community, is something, it's kind of like my baby, like I worked really hard on it for the last 19 weeks consecutively, and it's been do they say labor of love? Yeah, that's it, labor of love, because I've actually just been putting money into it myself to get it off the ground, and it's just something that feels really like the right thing to do. But it's also, I'm learning so much about skill sets about fundraising, storytelling, being a leader, and being like a entrepreneurial, like what that is. All of that I'm learning at the same time. And so I appreciate what that's teaching me, even though sometimes it does tend to really overwhelm me because, it is a lot to take on, and it is every week, and I just see so many opportunities, and I want to explore it and grow it and just see how it's going to impact more people. Like, I think my thing about the Sunday program is it is obviously about COVID, because people are struggling right now in so many different ways, that I want to be there for my community, and I want to bring together other Ethiopian professionals together so that they can also have a venue to support their community, And so that is aspect of it. But to me, it's bigger than that. I think to me, it's the fact that the community, our immigrant community, isn't really very visible in decision making. It isn't very visible when in advocacy and resource allocation decisions. Like, we're not thought of as the people that the government or politicians really feel like they need to do right by. It's almost like we're invisible, and I want to be part of pushing to make sure that we are not invisible, that we are visible, we are part of deciding how things are done around here, because we are part of this community. We're part of Seattle, King County, Washington State. We're part of this country, and we make up so much of the workforce. We're part of the educational system. Our children are there in the school system. We work in hospitals, we work in schools, we work in the education system, so many things. And so it's about that, not just about COVID, but obviously COVID is kind of the trigger that pushed me to start it. And to me, that's what it's about. So there's a lot of passion that I put into the program, which then leads me to overwork sometimes. But I am working on, what does it mean to be a leader that inspires other people to get involved. I am such an independent worker. Like, I always just kind of like go and take on things and just do it. And influencing other people to take on more things with me can be difficult for me. Like, it's hard for me to ask for help. But it's one of those things, like, I haven't been able to do this without people's help. So I have to work with people to do this. And that's just like, it's not a choice. It's just what it is. So I am working on that. I am working on asking for help and being vulnerable about that. And I'm working on that. So the podcast is great. Helps me speak about who I am. Makes sense of who I am. As I'm talking about it, I feel like I am a verbal processor. So I like to speak about things, and that's how my brain then helps understands what's happening with me. And given there's so many changes that's happening in my life right now, being, like a mom, like a first-time mom, being like kind of starting my career in sort of campus community engagement, kind of being in that sort of early stages of my leadership journey, like talking about things and processing them are really important to me. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just running around and I don't know where I'm going. And that's a scary feeling for me. So I always like to take the chance to reflect on where I'm going, how it's going, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what podcast is allowing me. And then the Sunday TESFA program is really allowing me to be in service of my community, but also help me to understand like our political and kind of influence circle world in the US, and like how to get our community to be more at the table and show make visible the ways that we are so great as a community. And so I think those are the things that push me. I think for my job, I really like my job because I like the people that I work with. They're really great. The folks that I work with every day, they're really amazing. And it makes me feel like I'm in a kind of a community that, like a lot of the time I think people are restricted to their office mates as their coworkers. But for my job, my job actually allows me to have co-workers that don't work with me at all in an official sense. What I mean by that is, like, I have a lot of community members that I consider are like my colleagues and my collaborators. So it's just, it's really cool to work in this kind of environment where I get to have folks that do work with me in the office as my partners, but then even beyond that, I have this broader community of people that I'm connected to, and I think to me, that's something that I really value, and I'm so grateful that I have through my job, and also having a job also gives you like stability, income, and a sense of like structure that I think other places wouldn't give me. So having a job does give me that sense of structure, and built-in like credibility, right? Whenever you work for institutions, there is a sense of credibility that comes with that, that we value as a society, and so it does give you that as well. And so I really enjoy my job for those reasons, and I feel like I am in the kind of forefront. Like, I feel like what I'm doing is something new. It is not something that we've always done. It's like this is innovative in a lot of ways, and it's new, and nobody, like, some of the things I've done so far in my job, there was no manual for it. I had to create it as I was going, and and that's the type of work that I enjoy, is like creating it and shaping things myself with other people and collaboration with other people. That's what I enjoy, versus like, just kind of following a certain thing that my supervisor tells me or something like that. And also my job allows me a lot of freedom, a lot of ability to like kind of think for myself and do things for myself, which again is big deal for me. So that's kind of where I am. So it's hard for me to let go of any of them because I like what I'm doing. At the same time, I do need to figure out ways to reduce the number of things that I do. And then of course I didn't talk about like motherhood, but that's another big thing for me, is like motherhood. But to me, like, I have a lot of support with my parenting, actually. Like, my husband is really supportive, my parents are really supportive, which I think a lot of people probably don't have. But so I'm very grateful that I'm surrounded by people family members who are like really, really helping me with that. I think if I didn't have their support, I probably wouldn't be pursuing any of the other stuff that I'm pursuing right now. So very much grateful for my family and our culture that really values parenthood, and like then the women that are around me are really, really helpful, and my husband and my dad and all of those people. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't know what the topic of this discussion was exactly, but it was great to talk to you. So talk to you soon, and let me know what's on your mind. And I wanted to put a plug out, like, if you guys could rate my podcast on specifically on Apple Podcasts. That's, I think, like where it counts the most. So if you guys can rate there, give me 5 stars, because why not? A+ for effort. and then give me a comment too, like, what do you like about it so far? What kind of things do you want me to talk about? I'd love to hear your thought. I'm also going to come up with an email address for this podcast. So once I have that worked out, I'll let you all know so that we can have a little bit more of a conversation. And I'll also like do like an Instagram page or something again, so that it's easier to talk to you guys and hear back what you are thinking. Because once I like post it, I never know like what people think unless I hear back. So yeah, let me know. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.